The USS Gerald R Ford transited the Suez Canal on Thursday, March 5, 2026. Pentagon photos released Friday show the world's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier moving through the canal alongside the guided missile destroyer USS Bainbridge. The Ford is now operating in the Red Sea, repositioned from the eastern Mediterranean, where it had been launching aircraft in support of Operation Epic Fury since the war began on February 28th. The move places the United States Navy's newest supercarrier in the same operational theater as the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is currently in the Arabian Sea. Two nuclear-powered carrier strike groups are now on station simultaneously within reach of Iran. A third, the USS George HW Bush, has just completed its pre-deployment training exercise, and its commanding officer confirmed it is ready to deploy immediately if needed. Here is what the Ford is, what its repositioning means operationally, and why it matters for the trajectory of this war. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the most technologically advanced warship ever built. It displaces more than 100,000 tons and is powered by two next-generation A-1B nuclear reactors. Its defining technical difference from older Nimitz-class carriers, including the Abraham Lincoln currently in the Arabian Sea, is the electromagnetic aircraft launching system known as EMALS, which replaces the steam-powered catapult technology that has been standard on US carriers for more than 70 years. The electromagnetic system generates higher sortie rates, handles a wider range of aircraft weights, and imposes less stress on airframes than steam catapults, meaning more aircraft launched more frequently with less maintenance downtime between flights. Its 11 advanced weapons elevators can carry up to 24,000 pounds of ordnance at 150 feet per minute. Its dual-band radar, a system not carried by any other carrier in the fleet, provides coverage that older radar configurations cannot match. The Navy confirmed this week that Ford's flight operations during the first days of Operation Epic Fury validated EMALS performance under sustained combat conditions, a data point that will directly influence congressional decisions about future carrier procurement. The Ford's Airwing is the operational instrument that makes all of this relevant to the current campaign. It embarks F/A 18 Super Hornet strike fighters, EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, which suppress and jam enemy radar and air defense networks, and E-2D Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft, providing extended radar coverage over the battle space. The Growler specifically is the aircraft that degrades Iran's ability to see, track, and respond to incoming US and Israeli strikes. It does not drop bombs. It blinds air defenses, disrupts communications, and forces Iranian radar operators into decisions they cannot fully execute. Every time a wave of Israeli jets crossed into Iranian airspace over the past 8 days, Growlers from one or both carrier air wings were operating to reduce Iran's detection and response window. The Ford's arrival in the Red Sea means those operations can now be conducted from a position closer to the Arabian Peninsula and the approaches to the Persian Gulf. The repositioning from the eastern Mediterranean to the Red Sea changes the geometric relationship between the Ford's air wing and its targets. From the Mediterranean, the Ford's aircraft were reaching Iranian targets and Lebanese theater operations via routes over the eastern Mediterranean, Israel, and Jordan. From the Red Sea, the Ford's air wing has direct access to the Arabian Sea approaches, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Gulf of Aden, and, critically, strike range over the Arabian Peninsula theatre, where Gulf state air defence augmentation and base protection operations are increasingly required. The two-carrier geometry now places the Abraham Lincoln holding the eastern approaches to the Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz from the Arabian Sea, while the Ford covers the Red Sea, the Bab el-Mandeb, and the western approaches to the Arabian Peninsula simultaneously, Iran cannot concentrate its retaliatory planning on a single axis. It now faces a two-carrier air threat from two separate geographic directions. The Houthi dimension of the Ford's Red Sea positioning is the element that has received the least coverage and carries the most forward risk. The Houthis, the Iran-aligned armed movement that controls northwestern Yemen, including the Red Sea coastline, have not announced whether they will resume their campaign of attacks on US warships and commercial shipping that ran from late 2023 through 2025. Since Operation Epic Fury began on February 28th, the Houthis have publicly expressed support for Iran, but have not confirmed operational resumption. The Ford's transit through the Suez Canal on Thursday placed the world's most valuable naval asset in waters where the Houthis have previously fired anti-ship ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drone boats. The Houthis struck and damaged multiple commercial vessels in those same waters over the previous 2 years. Whether the Ford's arrival deters a resumption of Houthi attacks by demonstrating overwhelming US naval presence, or whether it provides the Houthis with a target whose symbolic and strategic value they cannot resist, is the unresolved operational question that every US Navy commander in the Red Sea is now managing. The deployment timeline adds a human dimension that the Pentagon confirmed this week. The Ford deployed from its home port on June 24, 2025, more than 8 months ago. It has operated in Europe, was redirected to the Caribbean during the Venezuela crisis, returned to the Eastern Mediterranean, and is now in the Red Sea on what Vice Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Jim Kilby confirmed to the Senate Armed Services Committee will ultimately be an 11-month deployment. If it extends to May as projected, it will surpass the 294-day post-Vietnam War record for US carrier deployments. The crew of more than 4,000 sailors has been away from home longer than any carrier crew since the height of the COVID pandemic. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Darrell Caudle acknowledged directly this week, "Our sailors understand the importance of their service. They are away from home longer than planned because the nation needs them forward and ready." The USS George HW Bush completing its 28-day pre-deployment training exercise this week, with carrier Airwing 7 flying 1,586 sorties and more than 1,300 arrested landings day and night, means a third carrier is certified and standing by. 3 nuclear-powered supercarriers in the same theatre simultaneously has not happened in the post-Cold War era. The logistics, the air traffic coordination, the missile defense architecture, and the command and control required to operate 3 carrier strike groups in overlapping operational areas represent a naval commitment of a scale the United States has not assembled since the opening of Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. Whether the Bush deploys depends on how the next phase of the campaign unfolds. But the fact that it finished its training exercise this week, that its commanding officer said publicly it is ready to deliver immediately and without hesitation, and that the Ford just transited the Suez Canal means the third carrier is not a contingency. It is the next step if needed. The bottom line on the Ford's Red Sea positioning is this. The United States now has 2 of its most capable carrier strike groups operating simultaneously in 2 separate bodies of water within reach of Iran. A third is ready to deploy. The sortie generation advantage the Ford's EMALS system provides over older carriers means the total volume of air operations available to CENTCOM has increased materially with a single transit. The Houthi threat in those same waters is unresolved, and the Ford's crew, more than 8 months into a deployment that was not supposed to last this long, is operating the most advanced aircraft carrier ever built in a live combat theatre, with the biggest phase of the campaign, by Washington's own description, still ahead.